This video covers a Victor FPR150 oxygen regulator rebuild. The video quality is very poor because I was filming it myself and didn't have a stand. I would recommend you go back and look at my other video on the acetylene rebuild first, which will be much clearer, and then just look at this one for the differences. There's a few extra tools needed, but they're just some different size sockets, so nothing too major, and I'll list them in the comments. Okay, sorry to start this late, but I wanted to make sure I could actually get it done. But I'm here repairing a Victor oxygen regulator. It's off of a little kit there, and it's an FRP. Let's see. Sorry, FPR150 CR. So I bought this repair kit. I bought this repair kit from Regulator and Torch Exchange. It was a SR150. So here's what I've done so far. I'm gonna put it back together and hopefully that'll help you see how to take it apart. But so the first part of the repair kit that I replaced is down inside there. It's like a little filter looking thing. And the part is this guy right here. All right, so he goes down there. And then the next part that goes around the outside is this little plastic guy right here. So I'm gonna take him out of my little repair kit here. I'm gonna put him in. So 1 second, I'll show you when he's down in there. Okay, so he just lays down in there, just like this. Make sure he's flush. See him down in there, just laying? So he's good. Okay, and the next piece in the repair kit is this little guy right here. He's replacing this guy. Now the one they gave me this guy's free to move on there. You have to push him on. They give you one, but it's got 4 tabs instead of 2. And the way I got him on was I pushed him onto the back. You can see the 4 tabs, and I just found something round that could squish around the outside of the tabs and smash it flush, which just happened to be from an electrical kit. Once I pressed that around him, it smashed the tabs down, and then I could slide him in and just kind of work it out. Wasn't too hard, but the trick is just put something around that smashes the tabs down, because the tabs need to be facing the same direction as you're pushing him in, so that this little pin is sticking out. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and screw him back into here. Now I will tell you, he wasn't particularly tight, but he was snug, and I have no torque spec, so I'm going off of how hard did it take me to get him off of there. So I'm just gonna give him a 1-2. Okay, he's tightened on there, and it was a 9/16 socket, and you just gotta kind of gauge it as to how hard it was to pop him off of there. I've worked on a lot of cars enough that I kind of can feel it. But yeah, I would much rather have a torque spec, but no such luck. Apologies, because I had to take him back out because I forgot the spring, which is that little guy right back there. So I kept him upright. He just drops down in there like so. And now I will put this guy back in there. He just screws down, but I did get the torque pretty close because it was about the same as when I took it off. Okay, so he's back on there. He's fully changed out, and that was those 3 parts right there. So now, the one part I'm curious about, I believe that this little guy on top of there is this little green O-ring in the kit. So I'm gonna take him off next, but I'm gonna look at the diagram they had in their website. I'm gonna take a pick and just get him off. I'm almost certain that's right, but we'll find out. Sorry, this is hard to film. There's a spring inside there. That little piece just slides out. Let me see if I can get focus. And there's the little gasket. So I'm gonna replace him with the green one and put him back on. Just before I put him back on, that looks like a fit to me. So I'm almost certain that's the way he goes. So let me see if I can do this. He will go on top of there. Like so. And then that just fits right down back on top of the little spring. Okay. And then he was actually screwed onto there. I'll show you in a second. So I haven't replaced the diaphragm yet, but this piece comes off and you can see where did that go? There's a little rim piece. Oh, right here. That sits and it folds up away from him on the outside, so it sits on top like that. Now he was a little sticky because of the rubber, but what I found was I just took a pick and just kind of pried against that raised edge, which hopefully you can kind of see, and it just came right out. You just got to work at it a little bit, but I wasn't quite sure how he was on there. So I got to replace the new edge and the new diaphragm before I tighten him on there. So I'll put those on right now and then I'll tighten him down, and that's pretty close to it. And this was just a, let's see, I think it was a, yeah, it was a 5/8, and this other guy was 7/16 that went on top of that piece. So he's real sticky on there. He doesn't need to be twisted. I thought maybe he was threaded on, but he just pops off of there. There's just everything sticking to the rubber. So 1 second, so he'll just come off. I'll replace the diaphragm, and there we go. Okay, now that he's on, sorry, there's just no easy way to do this, because this guy's that piece is gonna fall out of there. So I'm gonna put this piece on top of here and screw them together. I'm sorry, I can't show it. Okay, so he's screwed on there, and I'll just throw a socket on each side and tighten him up. He was definitely not tight, just snug. Okay, so he's done. This guy's done, and you can see where the raised edges and the rubber's on the other side. So now, in theory, I believe he goes on like this, if I remember right. That's the air inlet, or so that guy just sits flush right there. And I'm gonna clean up that edge real quick. Now that guy just goes right back on top of there to hold him in place. And then I'll set my spring on top and screw the cap on. One thing I'm gonna do is just put a little bit of white lithium grease on that, just because I'm pretty sure that was there. All right, and I'll screw the cap on. And that just took me a minute to figure this guy out. Now, he was pretty tight, I'm not gonna lie. And what I did was I used a little strap wrench I got from Harbor Freight 100 years ago to just grab onto him, but I was able to do it all by hand, so he's not super tight. So now I'm just gonna snug him down real good and call it good. All right, last thing is I'm gonna see what happens when I drive him down. Is it driving that spring down? Yep. All right, now the big test. I'll probably turn the video off for the test. Okay, seems to be working. So I'm just setting my regulator to 0. And I'm just real gingerly, there's about 1,200 pounds on the bottle. But you can see it's holding on that side. And I've got this valve open just so I don't overpressure the hose or jack up the gauge. But as I begin to slowly call for gas. So I'm gonna call that one good. Yeah, I think that's good. So I'll loosen him up just so there's nothing on those gauges. And she's ready for another day of service. All right, hope that helped. I couldn't find doodly or squat on these two valves. There's quite a bit on Victor. You know, there's a different one for the oxygen and the acetylene, but I'm sure the internals look the same. But that regulator torch, good deal. They shipped it to me, and I don't know, I probably had it in 4 or 5 days. And I think I paid 36 bucks. It just beat buying a new regulator. I couldn't even find an FPR150. I'm not sure where you buy them, but for 36 bucks, if I'm back in business and I can keep my nice brass on here instead of having the plastic, I'm happy with that. So hope this helped. By the way, you might ask, why did I have to rebuild it? And basically the minute I opened the bottle valve, it was just the gauge was pegging out, and I was very close, like ginger with it, so I'm sure the gauge is fine. I had the valve opened quickly, so it didn't sit there long, but right away I knew that something's wrong. So I did it once or twice, and then it was like, nah, can't play games with this. So that's why I had to rebuild it.